Hello friends, this is my Chainlink video for today. Welcome to the channel. I'm Rocky Outcrop, and as a watcher here you are Rocky Outcroptician, so welcome to the family. And you can see up above the price on Link right now is $4.41. Let's take a look at the charts and see if we can find out any info about where the price could be going over the next wee while. So thanks for joining me, let's roll those intros. So back in the charts and starting off our Chainlink analysis here with the sparsely populated weekly chart, and we're just looking to see that you can see where the Fibonacci retracement's been drawn in from those all-time highs to lows, and then from this previous low to the current swing high that we have here, and we're just trying to narrow down in terms of where the price could potentially be going if it were to retrace in either direction currently any further than it already has done. And we've got the lines going across here. We can see the two yellowy coloured lines here. That's the 786 on the larger time frame and the 236 on the lower time frame. Now the lower time frame one is currently invalid. Now I say that because until such times as until the price actually moves below the very first point on this Fibonacci retracement, then you don't actually consider them to be valid. So what we're actually looking for is to see this price more or less coming in operating as support for this asset, as to keep this thing invalid between the blue line here and pointing and this second yellowish line here as the point at the charts. Now if that's to be the case, then you'd expect support to be in around here at the $4 area, and we've had that quite a lot recently in the past. And our current upside target is of course that $4.80 area, but we will then be looking towards the $5 and beyond in the near future should the prices continue to swell towards the upside. So the things have been really quite good overall for this, but we have a degree of divergence potentially playing out here currently. You can see this area that I'm pointing at now on terms of the RSI. This is the daily chart that we're looking at as we've been coming up here. We've had, well, that's not actually divergent, that's convergent there in that price. The last couple of days we've had what potentially could be one, but we're really just consolidating sideways, and I couldn't actually say that that's divergent really, to be honest. But we've come down here and we've been supported, so to speak, by the edge of the bullish control zone on the RSI. I want to see that continue and for this to cross over its moving average again. And in terms of this, yeah, now zooming out here, you can see that there isn't really any real divergence between these points, but of course between these 2 points here we did get a touch of some divergence. And how did that play out? Well, it didn't really. So the overall bullish trend has been a strong one, and we want to see this consolidate and then potentially get enough rocket fuel in it to go on up to the next target. So let's hope for that as we continue on. Looking at the bottoms during the uptrend here, and you can see there's not really any bearish hidden bullish divergence to speak of, but that's good to see though that everything's in a sort of more or less healthy formation there. And if we go down to a lower time frame, can we get any more insights on this thing? Well, as I say, this is still really just consolidating sideways, so we're operating in this area here. Potentially the RSI midpoint here will come in as a support for us in the smaller time frame, and between these 2 points here, well, no, the highs, you can't say that there's any real divergence on the go. We're just really consolidating sideways in this area. I do think that potentially when we break out of this area that we could be looking at volatility coming in at around about this sort of a degree of that. If you were using that as a sort of measuring stick at any given time, you could, if we were to break out, if this is a sort of triangle forming here and we were to break out above, then you could have prices go up as much as what is the difference here? That's $3.20 up to $4. So you could have $1 here move either side potentially, if that were to be the case. Now, if that were to be the case, the downside is start looking at this as a potential head and shoulders reversal pattern or a distribution top, and to take a closer look at the oscillators down below to look for any other signs of divergences, and keep an eye out here to see if we get any forming on the daily charts and things like that as well as we go forwards. But currently still looking at this as being an uptrend, and we have set in higher lows along the way, so that's all very good. And this is indeed a higher high as well, so we're continuing to do that even though things look very sideways at the moment. We're still continuing to oscillate towards the upper side. So you could say that between this point here and here, if that is indeed the case, which it is, then you could say that there is a degree of bearish divergence actually there on the chart as we've been going up here, making highs on this 4 hours. So we're looking at to see if the RSI's bearish divergence plays out. Across the stochastics, it doesn't look like it's exactly the same. It's more of a class B sort of setup, and across the MACD you can actually see it a little bit more clearly, in fact, there. So we're looking to see if that plays out to the downside at all here, and if it would do, then we'd have the entries in around the $4 flat again. But we're really just looking around that and seeing that we're in an uptrend, so it's hard to actually put too much weight on that. Now let's just go over to the versus Bitcoin prices and take a look and see if it's more or less the same sort of scenario that we're looking at. And we're being supported by the 21 and the 200 simple, just in much the same way as we have been versus the dollar price. Although it's a little bit more sandwiched in tight here currently, but you can see just there as I zoom in a bit that is the case. So over to Link versus BTC here, and yep, that's right, versus Bitcoin. And we can see here that the story is more or less the same, except as we zoom right on in, this is the 4-hour chart, zoom right on in, I say, oh, here, can we get it a bit quicker? No, okay, sorry. So just we can see there between these points here, which is lower across there and lower down here, that there's no exactly divergence on the go, because that is what you would expect to see. So they're convergent with each other, with the lows matching in with lows on the upside and the downside as well. In fact, they've got a more of a flaggy formation here happening, so that ties in with the USD price fair enough, and we take some of the edge off of the bearish divergence you see there on that chart. And on the 24-hour chart, it's more or less the same scenario as well. And you're looking around about this $4 price here, which is around about 40,000, 39,000 satoshis or so as well. They're kind of confluence there with each other. Of course, you have to do a little bit of maths, but with the price of Bitcoin being around 10,000, that's not so difficult there, with that being 39,000 satoshis or whatever that is, and that's 37,000 or so there on the downside. So there would be a zone for entries if we were to get a sort of pullback in the meantime. And then, of course, the targets on the upside are in around, well, it's in front of this recording button, so can't see that. It's like 49,000. So yes, there you go. There's your dollar range as well, with the terms of potential price action. If that's to 49 and that's down to 39, then you've got a sort of potential for a bit of volatility coming into the market here. And overall, I expect probably that will go to the upside, but I am managing my risk in around those levels there anyhow. So that's what we're looking at on Chainlink. Thanks so much for tuning in and becoming a Rocky Outcrop petition. If you like and subscribe this video, that's very good. We're hoping to try and bust 50 subscribers today, so anybody who joins in, thank you so much for that, really appreciated. And of course, I've uploaded an Ethereum and a Bitcoin video already today, and I'm about to go on to do a Tezos one now. So if you like this content, then subscribe and click on those links that are hopefully showing up at the end of this video. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.